Welcome back to the Full Force Fathers Podcast, Dave, episode number 38. It is great to be here today. I have my winter hat on. I was going to put a Santa Claus hat on because now, we're past Thanksgiving, but I know that you're a little bit too Scrooge for that, so maybe if I put a Santa hat on, you probably would have complained about it.
Yeah, I mean, we're past Thanksgiving, so, I'd be okay with it. I still don't think it's probably time yet. We need to get into the crux of December before we really start hitting that. But I mean, you've had your Christmas tree up for what, 2 weeks now?
2 days, dude, not 2 weeks. All right, buddy, come on. Give it.
You've had it longer than 2 days. You are full of it. You put it up before Thanksgiving this year. You did, and I know you did because you sent me a picture of it.
All I know is December's 2 days away, so you got to stop complaining about if it's too early for Christmas, all right? I know you want to hang on to Thanksgiving with every waking last breath because you're so obsessed with that holiday. You don't want to let it go, dude. It's like you're like a kid in a toy store that's just clinging on to the leg. Give me the toy. Keep Thanksgiving here. I get to cook on 2 Traegers, yada, yada. Nobody cares, okay? Thanksgiving's in the past, all right?
You're just bitter because you weren't here for Traeger turkey this year. That's all. And I know that's the case. But speaking of, how was your Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving was good. We went over to Andine's cousin's house, and it was a big day. There was probably 30 plus people there, including children.
Yeah,
a lot of food, a lot of good food. They did 2 turkeys, 2 hams, and then all the normal sides that come along with Thanksgiving. And then I will say, the dessert table afterwards was where it was at, man. My wife just knocked it out of the park once again. She did a pumpkin cake, like a pumpkin mousse trifle with homemade whipped cream, homemade pumpkin mousse, and some delicious cake and all the good stuff in there, which is no surprise. Andine knocks it out of the park with every dessert. Between that and the cinnamon bun cheesecake that she made the week prior, which I had to drool over, by the way, because I was on 75 Hard Phase 1. So I literally, Phase 1 ended, and I could not have cheesecake until the following day. So I had to finish out day 30 of Phase 1, right into the cinnamon roll cheesecake. Then she comes up and knocks out this pumpkin mousse trifle out of the park. There was homemade cupcakes. There was homemade pumpkin rolls, pumpkin pies, pecan pie, you name it. But the dessert table, you know what might have been my favorite dessert outside of my wife's? Somebody made it from scratch, homemade pumpkin whoopie pies, and I am a sucker for a good whoopie pie.
That sounds good. I haven't had a whoopie pie since I think the Big E back in the day.
But to be honest,
that sounds good.
Nothing beats a Dave Traeger turkey. So yeah, I was missing the Dave Traeger turkey. But overall, it was a great time. Yeah. Lots of kids, lots of fun. Cousins running around. We played some disc golf. We threw the football around. We had a good time. And so that, how about yours? What was yours like?
Yeah, our Thanksgiving was great. We ended up having quite a few people here, which was a lot of fun. It was a beautiful day in Arizona, as it usually is. So I did 2 turkeys on the Traeger. I brined them the night before, so they were nice and juicy, and everybody loved them. I did a garlic and herb, and I did the Traeger barbecue turkey as well, kind of in your honor, because that one's so good. We did a nice Brussels sprout side dish with some bacon, which was fantastic. The stuffing, which is my favorite. Desserts were pretty good. I actually needed to, as you know, I was calling Andine. I don't know. I think I talked to her probably 5 or 6 times on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving because I tried my second ever cheesecake and it came out pretty good. I could have left it on the grill probably because I did that on the Traeger too. Probably could have left that on the grill for another 3-4 minutes. Would have firmed up a little bit more. But overall, it came out really good. So thank you, Andine, for her assistance in that process, as I am not much of a baker. So, but all in, it was a great Thanksgiving. We got to throw the football around, which was a lot of fun. Then 3 o'clock came around. I think it was about 3:30 came around. Was watching the Giants and the Cowboys. Go Cowboys. Headed off to the airport. Flew to Austin for a Texas game day on Friday that started at 9 o'clock in the morning. Did the show. Texas won. And then I flew on home Friday night. So it was a whirlwind of a couple days. Good to be back. Unfortunately, Kansas State won on Saturday night, so Texas is not in the Big 12 championship game. Good news for me because I don't have to leave this weekend. I can stay here and pack because, as you can see, things are getting a little crazy around here with packing and stuff. So, yeah, man, Thanksgiving was good. Now I'll let everybody get into the Christmas season.
Yeah, no, that's good. Now, I got a question. I'm going to back you up a minute. What does, not because you know me, I'm not a chef. When you brine a turkey, does it make a difference? And B, what is it actually doing when you brine the turkey? You said you brine the turkeys overnight. What does it mean and what does it do?
Yeah. Yeah, so you take the turkeys and you submerge them basically in a bath. So you got to make the brining solution. Then you got to let it cool, and then you mix it with some cold water. It goes into the fridge overnight. You don't want to over brine it because really what you're doing is you're putting some salt in there, and you're pulling the moisture out and then putting the moisture right back into it. And really it's creating a nice juicy bird so that it doesn't dry out. A lot of times people say turkey's really dry. If you brine it and you brine it the right way, it's not dry. It comes out delicious, extra moisture in it. It really brings in those flavors of the brine that you put in. So the garlic and herb, it had different set of spices, a different spice base than the Traeger Thanksgiving turkey, which is more of a citrusy base to it. That really helps infuse that flavor to it and keep it nice and moist throughout the cook. And I think ultimately a better product. So yeah, it's great.
Well, yeah, well, I can contest. I can vouch for your turkey not being dry. That's for sure. So that's a good that's a good thing. So let's kick the show off. It's episode 38, guys. Post Thanksgiving here. We're just about to hop into December here in a couple days. Got one major topic we want to talk about today, but as always, we're going to jump right into the Bible here. Start with the Bible verse. Comes from Psalm 24. It's actually the first verse in Psalm 24. And this Bible verse is interpreted in a couple different ways. I took it out of the New International Version, which is the Bible that I read daily, but there's the King James Version. The wording is just a little slightly different, but I think it means the same thing coming off of Thanksgiving, and that's why I put it in here. And it just says, Psalm 24, verse 1, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it, right? And I read in a book, in my book recommendation today, the word steward. We're just stewards, right? We're good stewards of the Lord. Everything is his. It's kind of his world. We just live in it. Is the way I break down that comment or that quote. This is his world. We live in it. We got to do better as humans to continue to be good stewards of the word. The word of the Lord and all that. So, coming off a crazy holiday and you just jump right into Black Friday and this crap and that crap when no one's grateful, no one's thankful. Everyone. They pretend to be thankful for about 60 seconds on Thanksgiving Day, and then all of a sudden they go right back into the bullshit of their daily lives afterwards. So it's just this is his world. We live in it. Let's just all try to do better. That's why I went with that verse today, Dave. Anything you want to add to that verse?
No, I think that sums it up, man. We're here, and that's as what we're doing as full force fathers. We're trying to be good stewards. With the way we handle money, we're trying to be good stewards. It's God's money, and that's what we're doing is trying to manage it to the best of our ability to do good for ourselves, put ourselves in a financial position to help others. And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to: getting ourselves in a position that we can use the resources that we have to make a difference in the world and help as many people as we can.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I love how you tied in the financial aspect of it there because that's pretty much the big topic on the show today. But before we get into the big topic today, we do have some famous number 38s, and 38 was a tough number for both of us when we were talking on the phone about it. We're like, man, there really isn't too many good 38s. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, wait. There's one of the greatest 38s of all time, and happens to be and one of the greatest sports rivalry of all time. And this guy's not a one-time, beater of the Yankees. He beat the Yankees in 2001. Everyone forgets about his desert days. And we're talking about the great Curt Schilling, number 38. Curt Schilling, Diamondback, Red Sox. I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame. He should be. He's great, all-timer. The bloody sock game of the 2004 ALCS, which was Game 6. Okay? By the way, everyone forgets, he got shellacked in Game 1 of that series. He did not pitch well in Game 1 of that series. And then he comes around. They do the little whatever the hell it was called to do something with the tendon in the ankle. He's got the bloody sock. He pitches well in Game 6. But I'm going to let you run with this because you're the diehard Sox fan here. But I want to mention something that a lot of people forget about, and we're going to go off topic of number 38 because we're going to get back to Curt Schilling. But everyone seems to forget Schilling in the bloody sock was just a bystander in that game because Game 6 of that ALCS is the little bitch Alex Rodriguez slapping the ball out of Bronson Arroyo's hand running down to first baseline. That's the headline of that game. He's the bitch of this whole thing. And I just, everyone get the bloody sock. Great. Schilling pitches. The Red Sox win. They kill him in Game 7. But it was all A-Rod and his little bitch move, slapping the ball out of Bronson Arroyo's hand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. And A-Rod's just got so many great memories for me as a Yankee against the Red Sox. I mean, the fight with Veritek and Pedro and Don Zimmer, like, it's just so great. Like, that rivalry was I think it was at its peak during that little bit of stretch of time. Probably from 01 to, I don't know, 05, 06. Like, it was great. And you're right, A-Rod doing that move. I mean, it was so A-Rod. It was such an A-Rod thing to do. And the series obviously worked out to the best possible outcome. First time a team's ever come back from down 3-0 to win a best-of-7 series, which was phenomenal. The fact that it happened, this bloody sock game in New York. I mean, Schilling put it all on the line. He's got to be the greatest number 38. He has to be. I mean, that was one of the gutsiest performances I've ever seen. And you look at him and you would have no idea that this dude was just a baller, and just like kind of reminding me like David Wells. It's just like you see him and you're like, what, professional athlete, but man, he could get it done. Like you said, back in 01, beating the Yankees then, and then to come back and then beat them as a Red Sox. Setting up Game 6, so crucial. Setting up Game 7. With Derek Lowe when he came out and did his thing. After such a terrible year in 2003, the way that ended, to come back and swing it the complete other way, be down 0-3, and they got obliterated in Game 3. By the way, I don't know if you remember that. It was like 18 to I don't even remember what it was. It was brutal. I think the Yankees put up 18 or 19 runs, and it just looked bleak. But if there was any team that was ever going to do it, it was that Boston Red Sox team. I mean, Kevin Millar, Trot Nixon, Jason Veritek. Like you just had what a gutsy group of guys. And Kurt Schilling was right there at the top of the list of gutsy, going out there with that bloody sock. We could do a whole show on that series.
Yeah, no, and Schilling's phenomenal. Like I said, people forget about his Arizona days. Him and Randy Johnson teamed up together when they beat the Yankees in 01. When the Diamondbacks were still a pretty new franchise, and Lugo hits the single, they win the game. And Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling, I'm pretty sure, won all 4 of those World Series games. And it was just tremendous to see it in 03, especially the way 03 ended. The Wakefield, extra innings, Aaron Boone, all that, for 04 to come back, get shellacked in the first 3 games, and then comeback wins in games 4 and 5. And then you get Game 6. Then you get the A-Rod. And then Game 7. I always remember Game 7 as Johnny Damon, because Johnny Damon, I think, hit 2 dingers in that game. And it was just they opened up the floodgates and just absolutely destroyed him in Game 7, which was awesome. But, Kurt Schilling, number 38, has got to be the best one. And then it really was. After that, it was really hard to find some number 38s. I'm not going to lie. I'll throw in a 49er reference. Back when the Niners were really good, in the early 2010s, when they lost in the Super Bowl to the Ravens, they had a safety named Dashon Goldson who was really, really good. Traymon Williams was another great safety in the NFL. And then in the NBA, I don't know if any people remember Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown was the number 1 overall draft pick for the Wizards. And then he got into it with Michael Jordan and all that other good stuff. And he was just a terrible number 1 overall draft pick. But I was trying to find an NBA number, because 38 is not an NBA number. And Kwame Brown did wear number 38 from 2008 to 2010 with the Pistons. Okay, that just tells you about his fall from grace. He ended up playing with those Pistons teams in the late 2008, 2009, 10. And then it is the World Cup, and as Dave knows, I love soccer, and I love the World Cup. So I had to throw a soccer player in there. No one's going to know it that listens to this show unless you pay attention to Premier League soccer. James Milner, who plays for Liverpool now, is the captain of the Liverpool team. He was number 38 for his boyhood club, Leeds United. So I had to throw a soccer player reference in there, World Cup reference. And the World Cup is a huge thing for me every 4 years. Let's go USA, dude. Today, when we're releasing this podcast today on Tuesday, and USA plays today, they have to win. So hopefully next week we got some good news that they were able to beat the Iranians and get to the knockouts after that draw with England, which was good, not great. They were the better team. They should have won. But the fact of the matter is, it's all on the line today. If they can beat Iran, next week you're going to hear me cheering to see if they can get it done.
Who are you rooting for? This is interesting because we never had a chance to talk about this. Who are you rooting for in that match? I know you got a lot of guys on England that you root for every single week in Premier League. So was that a tough one for you, or,
No.
or do you go all USA there?
USA all the way. I mean, I still root for my home country.
Okay.
Even though we could do a whole nother podcast on youth soccer in America and how much of a dumpster fire it is and how pathetic we are. We live in a country of 300 million people. England's the size of Alabama, the state of Alabama, and we can't find 11 to 15 studs out there that are athletes that can put the ball in the back of the net. Give me a break. But I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole because the United States soccer, it's pathetic, but it's a grassroots thing. And unfortunately, what the United States is good at is money and greed, right? We're the greediest country on earth, and it's all about greed at the youth level. There's way too many clubs, and if I was running the show, my buddy Nick texted me during that match. He goes, man, I would nominate for you to be in charge, because he's the same way, a big diehard soccer fan, but he's amount of these fake America fans that think the U.S. soccer team is any good. They are the laughing stock of the world. If you look at the size of the country and the money and the resources available, we are the laughing stock of global soccer. And the fact that we can't figure it out and put it together, but I would hurt too many feelings. All right. Kids should be getting cut from clubs. There should not be as many clubs. But the thing is, it's all about money, right? Every time a new club opens up in this country, it's more money for the freaking people that run the club. Where you look at all these European nations, South American nations, where all these great football clubs come from and all the greatest players in the world come from. These kids are poor. They have nothing. Soccer at its very core is a dirt ground match, is a dirt ground field with a ball. These kids play barefoot. We got to have $200 cleats and $200 shin guards and $800 fucking jerseys. I mean, I can't even get started on this right now because we'll go down that rabbit hole. But we're the laughingstock league. To answer your question, I will always root for my home country. Fuck England, because all I got to say is 1776. That's all I got to say. We don't give a shit about the Redcoats, okay? But there's a lot of players on England that I do root for, because my favorite player in the world does play for England, Harry Kane. He plays for my favorite team in the world, which is Tottenham Hotspur. But it's a very simple answer. I will always root for USA. If USA is knocked out, then I will root to see, if England can get through or whoever. But I mean, there's so many great teams, and the fact that we can't be a great team is what makes me mad. Christian Pulisic literally has to do everything out there by himself.
Yeah, good enough. All right.
That's your
answer. Why don't we jump into the topic today? Why don't you kick us off?
I'm jumping into the topic. I went money today, and that's why I can't wait for you to get involved in this, because this is just a stupid, stupid number. This is a stupid topic, and I can't believe. But listen, as we, Dave Ramsey's your idol, and I read a lot of his books. Normal is broke, right? That's what it is. That's what normal is. Don't be normal. Be weird, because normal's broke. So today's topic, Dave, I want to jump in here and start it. I want to throw. And you tell me if you're okay with this. I want to open up the topic, and I want to throw some statistics at you, and then I want to let you kind of run with it here for a little bit, because I know this is your bread and butter, and this is your MO. You cool with that?
I love it.
Okay. So today's topic, and it comes on the heels. We just had Thanksgiving. Black Friday was a couple days ago. Yesterday was Cyber Monday. Everything's an effing holiday for money. Spend money, spend money, spend money. And if anyone pays attention to me in my regular job, I put a video on my mortgage page on Friday of credit cards. Okay, and that's where the topic is. All right. Data came out this past week, Dave, about credit card debt. It's at an all-time high. Savings are plummeting. It's just a really, really sad story all around. But the data I'm going to give you is this: credit card debt year over year is up 15%. Okay, that's the largest jump in 21 years. Since the 2001 recession, that is the largest jump. Credit card debt is up 15%. All right, rates on credit cards have jumped 2.75%, 2.75% due to the Fed rate hike. So when people ask what happens when the Fed hikes rates, this is what happens. Bank-to-bank lending. All right, now credit cards, it costs more to service that credit card statement. So then those interest rate hikes get passed on to the consumer. Okay, so rates on credit cards are up 2.75%. All right, credit card debt, $930 billion for the third quarter. $930 billion. All right, and the last stat I'm going to give you is this: savings has dropped 3% to its lowest levels in this country since the great 08-09 recession. Savings are down 3%. Dave, this is a real pandemic. This is a real problem, and lots of feelings. It's not feelings anymore, right? people are going to lose their jobs. They're going to lose their house. This is not good. If this is is this what we're dealing with? Like, what do we do? What do we do?
Yeah, this is disappointing news to see, but quite honestly, I'm not overly surprised because what do people do? Why do people get? What's the main reason people get credit cards? What's the thing they say they have a credit card for? In case of no. In case of emergencies.
Oh, emergency. Yeah.
You get a credit card in case of emergencies, right? In case of emergencies. Well, we just had a pandemic. We're still working out of the pandemic. Inflation is really high. Emergency. Ding, 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 ding. So people start using their credit cards because they're not good with their money. They're not budgeting. They're not doing the things that we've talked about. They don't have an emergency fund. They don't have these things in place. So what do? They go to their emergency fund, which is their credit card, which is unfortunate. So it's not surprising with inflation jumping way up and all, groceries, gas, everything's more expensive. That credit card debt's going to go up too. It's unfortunate, but it's not surprising. And yeah, you said it. It's the largest jump since the recession of 2001. Well, look where we're at right now. So, those things kind of go hand in hand. And with the rate hikes, like you said, up 2.75%, that's a lot. When you're already talking credit card interest rates being, between 15, if you have a really good one, and up to 28, 29, 30% with like a store card. I mean, those percentages are huge. And it's one of those things. If you can't find a way to get yourself out of using a credit card, you're just going to keep using it. And it's going to compound, and you're not going to be able to make your payments, and you're not going to be able to make a dent into that. And what it's going to do is it's going to cause your overall debt to increase month after month after month. And it's just going to keep spiraling because now your minimums are going up and you're still spending more on your card. So where do you break even? That's the question. You just have to make the decision and decide that I'm not doing this anymore. And you need to stop. You need to cut them up. You need to throw them away, and you need to figure it out. From that moment, how am I going to do this without a credit card? How am I going to do it? And that's what you have to focus on. You need to understand that it's hurting you. It's not helping you. It's not your emergency fund. You're relying on someone else who's taking advantage of you and ultimately destroying your ability to ever be financially free at that point.
And I think an underlying issue here that maybe goes quietly hand in hand with this is that second number that I said is that savings are down 3%. And, it's the lowest since 08, 09, that recession with, when the housing crash happened and all that other stuff. And what people don't understand is when it started with the previous administration and now this current administration, when you just print trillions and trillions of dollars and throw it in the economy, you are just feeding the beast, right? That's why inflation is so high, because you just printed all this free money, right? So what happened is in the beginning, free money was great, right? People were taking it. They were saving it because savings was up. Look at the statistics. Savings was up when they were printing all that free money because some people just tucked it away. They put it in savings. They didn't spend it. A lot of other people spent it. But what happened is the canary in the coal mine here is this. Retail spending was strong. Consumer spending was strong last quarter, but it was all under the disguise of it was all put on credit cards, right? Because people had finally broken down, went into their savings account and spent all that money to help offset how expensive everything is. Because I was just in the store this morning. A 60 count of eggs was $18.18. A dozen eggs was $4.75 for shit eggs. Okay. And then people, like you said, they spiral out of control, Dave, right? Because then it's swipe. Shit, I can't afford it. Swipe. Shit, I can't afford it. I don't want to get another job. I just want to keep swiping and swiping and swiping and going, instead of going to get a part-time job to help offset the problems that were created by our own by Washington, right? They were self-inflicted wounds that we're dealing with right now. These are not out of the blue. Yeah, COVID happened, and that's not our fault. But everything that happened after that is our fault. The way we responded to it, the way we printed the money like that, those are all self-inflicted wounds that we're trying to heal. And the problem is people, like you said, nobody knows better. They just go and swipe the card. They don't fucking think about it. There's no emotional attachment to it. They just go and swipe it, swipe it, swipe it, swipe it. And then all of a sudden, mortgage rates are 8% or 7% in the 7s they were not too long ago. People can't buy houses because they have too much debt. You can still buy a house in 7% interest market if you have control of your finances. But most people have no control of their finances. And it starts with that little plastic credit card. And I'm so glad that we became such friends because I haven't had a credit card, Dave. How long has it been now? 3 years, I think. Going on to my third year without a credit card.
3 years.
Chop those shits up, paid them off. See ya. No, and I'll never touch another one ever again. But nobody does that. Nobody.
No, they don't. And here's another statistic to tie into your point about savings. 56% of Americans don't have enough money in their savings account to cover $1,000 emergency. That's staggering to me. $1,000? And I guess it's no wonder why when they did print money, everybody was so excited, like, this is amazing. Because, you were getting twice as much as that. Or in some cases, if you have a family of four, you were getting around, I don't know, I think it was around 5,600 or seven, I don't know, somewhere. It was up north of $5,000 that you were getting for a family of four. I mean, wow, people were like, well, this is amazing. The government, they're just giving us all this money. But like you said, now we're starting to see the repercussions of that. We're starting to see the problems that come with just handing out free money, because what does somebody that isn't good with money do? Well, they're going to piss it away and they're going to burn right through it. So now all that money that they got that they could have just stuffed in their savings account or used to pay off their debt or something has been spent on probably useless stuff that they're never going to see again. And that's the problem. And you made another good point. You said emotional. It's not emotional when you swipe a credit card. And it's not. When you have to take money out of your wallet, you have to hand over the money that you worked hard for. It's a lot different than when you just take a plastic card and you're like, boop, swipe it, tap it, chip it, whatever you're doing, and you'll see the bill in a month. And, you get the bill in a month, and you're probably not even looking at the charges on there anymore. You're all right, what's the minimum? Most people just look at the minimum. Can I pay the minimum this month? Yep, I can. And they get back to it and they just start swiping and swiping and swiping. Today I was just, I was at Walmart, yesterday I was at Walmart with Bryce and Kendall, and we got out of the store, and Bryce goes, how much was that, Dad? And I said, it was $130. He goes, oh, that wasn't too bad. And I laughed. He goes, what are you laughing about? I go, Bryce, it's $130. And we didn't really get anything. I think I had 4 bags of stuff. And he didn't really understand. I said, Bryce, how many chores do you have to do around the house to get $130? I go, what do you average a week? Like, how much, what do we normally pay you a week for the stuff you do? And he's like, I don't know, $8, $10, somewhere in there for the different chores that he does a week. I was like, dude, that would be much, like 4 months of work around the house to pay what we just bought at Walmart. That's going to be gone at the end of the week. Yeah. And, so, understanding those and then he started the process. He's like, okay, that makes more sense now. Why you're saying that it's more expensive. And unless you have that emotional attachment to the money that you're handing over, you don't feel it. You don't feel the pain. You have to feel the pain. And that's why when you cut up the credit cards and you don't have that crutch to lean on anymore, and you have to hand over the money that you get into your account, you have to take it out and you have to go to the store. Well, you're going to be more concentrated on what you need to buy versus what you just want to have or what you think you need to have. Because if you don't have any more money and you don't have a credit card to bail your butt out, at that point, you're like, okay, now I got to start making some changes. That's, and that's where the change really happens, when you have that emotional impact. And it's key. That's a key part of it.
It's when you have that emotional impact, when you're like, you finally have your, what is it? Like, you finally take that hard look in the mirror, right? It's almost like episode 1, our first episode that we ever put out on the Full Force Fathers podcast was Where to Start. And it all starts with one word, and you could probably use a bunch of different words, but I think the number one word, Dave, is discipline. That's the number one word. That it starts with discipline. It starts with discipline in your budget, discipline in even your grocery list, right? Because what happens? You go to the grocery store, and you've said it before, time and time again. You go get your grocery list, and then you're in the register, and you grab this, and you grab that, and you grab this, and all of a sudden you got an extra $35, $50 in there, and you don't even know it, right? It all starts with discipline. It starts with the discipline of knowing you need to stick to the budget. It starts with the discipline of knowing you can't just swipe your freaking card for everything, and knowing you have not, But I think the scary thing is, like you said, how many people? 75% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 6-figure earners, it's like 50-something% live paycheck to paycheck because they have nothing to fall back on. You can't expect the credit card to be your fallback plan, because guess what? Like you said, you see the minimum and you can pay it, but guess what? Then you go out and swipe again, and the following month the minimum's more, and then you're all of a sudden in hot water, right? Because now you're like, oh shit, I don't know if I can pay this minimum. And it's a death spiral. It's a hamster wheel. It's whatever you want to call it. But but it all starts with the lack of discipline to help yourself.
And the best part about, wherever you're at right now is that in this moment, and we've said this, God, so many times, and it deserves repeating. And we could say it every single time, because if it helps one person, it made a difference. You can change right this minute. You don't have to wait until tomorrow. You don't have to wait until the next month. You don't have to wait until 2023. You can make the decision to change right now. After you get done listening to this, take the cards out of your wallet, cut them up, and say, never again. I'm not going to do it. Whatever I have in my savings, whatever I have in my paycheck coming in is going to be how I live from now on. That's how I do this. That's how I'm going to fight through. I'm going to create a budget. December's right around the corner. What a perfect time to create a budget, right? Create a budget for the start of December and start working the plan. Start working your way towards financial peace and independence and freedom. You don't need to live this way anymore. I know what it's like. I've been there. The stress that you're feeling right now, when you have to go to the mailbox and find out what bill is sitting there. And then you're like, how do I move this around? How do I pay this month? And then you start getting credit card offers and you're like, oh, good. I can roll this over at 0% interest for 12 months. This is perfect. I'm just going to stash this here and then I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it in the next year. And guess what? You don't. Now you got a card that's maxed out that you did a rollover on, and you're going to be hurting next year too, because you're not going to change your habits. You're just going to keep doing the same thing, and you're going to put more money on cards. And it's just an evil, evil cycle. So you have the ability to change right now, whether it's your financial life, whether it's your fitness, whether it's your faith, whatever. You want to be a better dad, you want to be a better husband, a better whatever you want to do, you have the ability to change right now. So do it. Stop waiting. Stop procrastinating. Become disciplined. Start right now. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just start. Cut up the cards and go from there. Maybe cut up one card and see how you do. Just start. You have to start. That is the key.
It's and I think it's even more important is to do it now. I know obviously you do it now right this second, but you are in the midst of the hardest time of the year to do anything, especially when it comes to finances and when it comes to fitness, because it's the holidays, right? And let me tell you something, Dave will vouch for this and so will I. Your kids aren't going to hate you if they don't have 72 presents under the tree to open up that they're going to throw out within 3 to 4 months, okay? Your stomach, your health, your heart health, your lungs, your muscles aren't going to hate you if you start to work out the 3 weeks leading up to Christmas. If anything, it gives you a freaking jumping off point. So you don't feel so shitty when you go and eat like garbage for the next 3 weeks, because everyone's going to do it. Listen, I'm human. I finished phase 1 right before Thanksgiving. You don't think I ate like an asshole on Thursday? Of course I did. But guess what? I'm better for it because I know my my baseline's already there, right? Make your baseline spending habits now. Throw the credit cards out. It's so hard to do it now. And that's what makes it even more noble if you were to do it now.
The best Christmas gift you can give yourself right now is to not put Christmas on a credit card. Don't put any of it on a credit card. Figure out a way. You still have a month. Figure out a way to get presents for your kids or whatever it is that you want to do. However you celebrate the holidays, get the things that are most important. Find a way to pay for them. Work them into your budget. Don't use a credit card. Don't go and put the entire holiday meal on a credit card. You don't want to be paying for your Christmas dinner for the next 15 years. How stupid is that? Okay. So the best Christmas holiday gift you can give yourself is to not put things on a credit card. Don't do it. Most people, Christmas isn't an emergency. It comes around every 12 months. It's here the same time every year. You know when it's coming. So next year, as you start planning for Christmas, you start planning early in the year and you start saving for it early in the year. So by the time Christmas comes around, you're able to use your budget the way you've used it and pay for Christmas without having any issues. So start right now. Do it. Don't use a credit card for Christmas. Cut them up. It'll be the best present you ever give yourself, ever. And just think, after you get yourself through this, you can do whatever you want with your money and you'll never have to worry about it again.
Yeah, no. And if you're listening to the passion in Dave's voice, and I have so much more passion for finances now ever since Dave and I became close, because I never really cared. I was normal. I used to just put shit on a credit card because I wanted to get miles to fly back to Connecticut every once in a while. That was normal, and it was just cool, and everybody did it. These principles and this is going to be I don't know if it's a cheesy plug or whatever I'm going to do, because I'm tying it straight into our book recommendation. Give the gift of some financial advice to the people that you love. If you know that someone's struggling or someone asks you, okay, today's book recommendation is a Dave Ramsey book. It's called The Complete Guide to Money. It's Dave Ramsey's Complete Guide to Money. All right. This book, and I've read a bunch of Dave Ramsey books, thanks to Dave. This one has been my favorite because it says right on there, this is the handbook to Financial Peace University. Dave's been through Financial Peace University, and this is a shameless plug. Who cares? The guy's a legend. He knows how to help people. He's going to tell you straight up how it is. But this book is my favorite one so far. It breaks down his baby steps. It doesn't go into baby steps as much like the Total Money Makeover, but it breaks down how to understand money. That's the problem in America. No one understands money, right? No one understands if you don't have a credit card bill, or if you don't have a car payment, if you don't have this or that, what the repercussions are and what good things happen when you don't have those things. So go out and get this book. You can probably find it in the library. It's Dave Ramsey's Complete Guide to Money. It's phenomenal. If like I said, it's a shameless plug, but give a gift like that to someone for Christmas, someone who needs it. Because guess what? Most people don't ask for help until it's too late. I'm just saying, they usually don't ask until it's too late, when they're sweating, they're scared of the mailbox. I mean, you name it. There's a million different things. It's almost like an alcoholic that hides their alcohol, right? They hide it until they just can't anymore. It comes out. It's the same thing, right? You're scared of the mailbox. You're trying to hide mail because you're terrified because you didn't tell your spouse that you took this card out or that card out. And that adds all the stress in the world to everything. I mean, the number one cause of divorce, Dave, is fucking financial. It's just mind-boggling to me, the statistics and how little people do to change it and how little anybody cares to change it. And that's what really gets me. It took me 35 years to open up my eyes or 34 years to open up my eyes to realize how stupid consumer debt is. It's not too late, people. Make the change. Start today. Get some discipline in your life. And I want to say one thing. There's nothing stupider than putting Christmas toys on a credit card besides Christmas dinner. You said it. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Anybody who puts food on a credit card is an idiot.
Yeah, listen, and we're not throwing shade at anybody. Nope. We say these things because they're things that we used to do. Okay, 100%. I know everybody who's listening right now who has stress in their life with money. I get it. I know exactly. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because I understand what you're feeling. I was that guy that was looking for where I could roll my credit card debt to with no interest and trying finding ways to beat the system. You can't beat the system. I was the guy that didn't tell my wife how much we had on credit cards. I was just dealing with it. I was coming in. She was spending money. I was spending money. I was just dealing with it. I'm that guy. I know what it is. We had student loan debt for Casey. We had car debt for both of us. We had credit card debt. You name it, we had it. I get it. And it's terrible. But the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I know what life is like on the other side. Okay. We moved across the country 4 years ago and took massive pay cuts to do it, because this is what we wanted to do. The only reason we were able to do that is because we got ourselves out of the terrible position that we were in. And yes, it's been a bit more of a struggle because we were making less money, but you know what? We were still able to do it. We still lived a great life. We went on vacation. We did the things we wanted to do because we got ourselves out of that terrible, terrible situation. And now we're making another move. We're going back across the country again. Why? Because we're debt free, because we have the freedom to do it. Why can we buy a house with a 7% interest rate? Because we don't have any debt to go along with it. You can do things when you don't have this saddlebag around you, or these chains around your feet just pulling you down. So you've got to dive in. You got to do it. The average person can do this in 18 months. You can get yourself out. Go get a second job. It is so much better when you don't have that stress, because you know what? Life is really stressful right now. Inflation is really stressful. The stock market taking a shit is really stressful. All these things are really stressful. Everybody's always trying to get a piece when you're out. Whatever you're trying to do. We were joking about this the other day. Everybody wants a piece. It's this charge. It's that charge. It's this charge. It's that charge. When you don't have that other saddlebag around you holding you down, that stress becomes a lot less, and it's not as magnified, and you can find ways through it, and you can fight through it, and you can just hold back a little bit in this category this month and use it somewhere else that you need it. So that's why we're passionate about it. We're not coming down on people. Yeah, we're laughing. You're an idiot. You're putting Christmas on a credit card. Christmas dinner that you're going to eat and shit out again, basically within 12 hours. Okay. But it's the truth and people do it. So just find a way, dig down deep inside, make that decision to change, find the discipline, and you're going to love your life on the other side of it.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. You said, listen, this is not us, saying, we're not making fun of you or throwing shade your way. This podcast was started from experience. This is 100% an experience-based podcast. Everything we talk about, we know. Dave, I know. I used to be terrified to go to the mailbox because I was the idiot that put Christmas on a credit card. I was the idiot that swiped it when I went to freaking McDonald's for the kids or something. I know from experience what it's like and how the pressure, the pressure that you feel. You may not want to admit it, but I know you're admitting it to yourself when you're talking to yourself somewhere else. And you can make the change. It's fair. It's, it sounds terribly hard, but it's actually, the process is pretty simple. You just got to get to work and you got to be committed to making the change. And that's what it comes down to. That's really what it comes down to, Dave. And I don't know if you got anything else to add. I think this is a good spot to end. We already went through the book recommendation. We wanted to talk about debt today because the statistics that came out. I have nothing else really to when I want to beat a dead horse here, just listen to us, guys. Go out there, make the changes that you need to make. Create that discipline that you need to create. Throw the shit out. Get rid of the credit cards. Sell the car. I don't really care. You don't want to go as far as getting rid of your vehicle. If you do me one favor, Dave wants you to get rid of everything. If you do me at least one favor, get rid of the credit cards. Get rid of the credit cards. That will change your life.
Yep, that it will. Great episode today. I hope everybody go back, listen to this again. It's worth it. It will change your life. The U.S. has a great match today. Go USA. Let's hope they move on to the World Cup. There's few times in sports that we can get behind an entire nation. This is one of them. U.S. all the way. Get out there, live the full force life, and we will talk to you soon.